Okay, so I just wanted to take a quick look at 2005's V for Vendetta. Um, I'm sure most of us are familiar with this film, most of us have seen it. So I'm just going to just give it a brush over and be brief with it because why discuss a plot in detail that we've all, are aware of. But um, yeah, it takes place in a alternate reality in which government has definitely become more of a tyrant. Um, Very heavy censorship and whatnot. And you have a man who is known by the name of V. We later discover that he was the victim of scientific experimentation. Excuse me. So obviously he's holding a grudge and trying to get back at the people who have harmed him. And of course, he somewhere throughout the course of the film runs across a young woman by the name of Evie, who her parents were also, I guess you could say, radicals, and she pretty much just, I guess, grew up an orphan, if I'm remembering correctly. Um, but she obviously decides to help V in a situation that he has gotten himself into, and unfortunately, she cannot be left on her own because the government will come after her. So he takes her in. They do spend some time together. She kind of shares in his world for a little while and sees all of the wonderful things that he has reclaimed as far as things that were censored or confiscated. She is eventually, I guess you could say, taken in during a home raid where she is staying with a friend, and she's kept in a prison cell. She has her hair shaven off. She's become bareheaded, and she's pretty much just tortured every day. Everyone's just trying to get this information out of her. Where is V? And she just won't give him up, even though she definitely does know where he is. So of course, once it's determined that Evie is free to leave, we discover that of course she was being tortured by V daily, and just kind of, I guess, not only just testing her trustworthiness, but he states it in the sense that he was trying to free her of her fear, something that she said she wanted to be rid of. And she definitely does change as a person, but I think it just very stereotypical when he lets her out of the cell. The first thing she mentions in regards to all of the horrible things that happened while she was there as captive, the first thing she has to mention is, "You cut my hair." And that just seems such a superficial thing, but I think, yes, it definitely can be a traumatic experience, especially if someone's not in the frame of mind where it's not a step that they want to make as a personal choice. Then yes, it definitely does become somewhat of a scarlet letter in itself, that it's a way of shaming a person and pushing someone down, or just kind of a form of psychological torture, because when a person's appearance is altered, that definitely does affect their self-esteem. I can definitely see that. One of the scenes that I really do love from this, though, is when Evie is let out of her cell and she walks out onto V's balcony. It's raining outside, and of course the water is, it's a purifier, it's a symbol of cleansing, but you can also say it's, in a sense, her rebirth. She's being baptized, she's being cleansed and purified, and she's becoming something or someone new. And this references back to V's experience, who definitely had a much more traumatic experience and who had been baptized in fire. But you definitely do see that illusion there, that they share a oneness now, and that they are both, completely changed and different people. But I think even though it was simplistic, it was just very beautiful imagery, and does tie their two stories and their two lives together very nicely. But yeah, V for Vendetta, I really like this one. It's definitely an interesting story, but it's just more the emotional or the spiritual changes that the characters go through that catches my interest more than anything else. I mean, yes, it's a vengeance story, and there are numerous references to the Count of Monte Cristo. Aside from V watching the film on the television and, you know, having a fencing match with an armored suit. You also have that similarity with Evie, where she's in the dark cell and knowing that there was someone who was next door, and the note passing. That's also reminiscent of Count of Monte Cristo. So I like that comparison, especially because, in a sense, the book itself, I believe his name was Edmond Dante. He was also on a path of vengeance, and he definitely did feel that he had been wronged, and he went through a great many changes himself in order to achieve his goal. So I think that's a very great comparison between Count of Monte Cristo and, of course, Evie and V. It's subtle, I guess you could say, but it's those small touches that really give a story its depth. But yeah, I really did enjoy this one, you know, for completely different reasons than had been originally presented in the film. But I think it's one of those stories to where it's humane enough and I guess you could say in depth enough to where one can see and take from it what they need within a certain period of their life. I mean, obviously, if you're there to watch an action flick or a revenge story, you will not be disappointed. You will definitely get that. But, you know, if you're actually watching the film on a deeper, more connected level, then you'll definitely get that soul food from it, you know, for lack of better terminology. But it definitely does have that thing where if you're on a certain path in life, you can definitely relate to it. But that is pretty much all I have for V, and I will talk to you guys later.